Okay, so Rob from Precision Content, over to you.
All right, thank you. Is this on? Everybody hear me okay?
Hillary?
I don't think so. I think I will.
It looks different than any picture I've seen.
Oh, here it is. I got it. Thank you. All right, welcome everybody. It's great to see so many faces, familiar faces. Big crowd this year. So those of you who know me may know that I am a big fan of Hollywood. I love big production movies, and we're going to make up some movies today in hoping to take you through riding the wave of the next content revolution. Oops. Okay. There we go. All right, Cowabunga. Wow, that was Jack's addition to my conference title. I resisted the urge of putting on my banana yellow shorts and flip-flops to come up and talk to you today. I'll probably be very thankful for that. And I really liked earlier this morning, Karen introducing a couple of movie concepts, the zombies, and in particular, battling the blob. And I think I'm going to use that. I think there's a real story arc there that really fits nicely with what I'm going to talk to you today about. So let's start with the robots are coming. All right. This is the tip of the revolution. Artificial intelligence, robots interacting with machines. We as technical communicators have an opportunity. We will need to learn how to write for both bots and people if we want to be able to leverage the transformational opportunity that we find ourselves in. Talking about going away from blobs to chunks, to pieces of content that can be used anywhere and everywhere whenever it's needed. We are being driven to learn how to speak robot. All right, so we will be translating for machines, for humans, helping to facilitate this conversation. Because this really is coming. And according to Gartner, 80% of new enterprise applications will use chatbots by 2020. And around that same time, it's estimated that your customers will manage 85% of the relationships with your organization without ever actually talking to a human being. And then not long after that, by 2021, according to Gartner, most enterprises will consider chatbots to be the preeminent content platform, surpassing both cloud and mobile. And where we're uniquely positioned as technical communications experts, all right, in this world of structured content and structured authoring, moving to the omni-channel experience, is that we understand the need to be able to provide seamless modality for our users, right, who will be moving from voice to online to physical, augmented reality, virtual reality, and then shifting easily back to voice and back to online and back to voice. Being able to create content that is sourced from one single source of truth to allow this seamless shifting of modalities to really complete that user experience. So, are we ready? And what does it mean to be ready? It means that we need to think about information differently. If you haven't started exploring structured authoring or structured content, now the present time is really important that we start to explore these paths. What does it mean? How can I move towards structured authoring? And not necessarily moving to a new technology or a new platform, because structured authoring really is a way of thinking about information. It's a way of organizing information. Predates XML, DITA, all the markup languages, is understanding how we structure information for optimal use. So we're going to start with a bit of a cautionary tale. Are we doomed to repeat our mistakes? And we'll start with an age-old film. We're going to go back 20 years, back to the age of the World Wide Web. All right, big, scary time for many of us. You know, how do we adapt what we're doing? How am I going to keep writing my manuals and producing my online help and also produce content for the web? Where will I ever find the time? But as technical communicators, of course, we were way out in front of this, but perhaps not in a way that we needed to be. All right, we didn't jump on the opportunity to lead our organizations into the world of the World Wide Web, into the digital world. And, you know, we had our reasons, our objections. I mean, the web's just a fad, right? It's not going to go anywhere. I mean, these animated GIFs and little MIDI tunes and, you know, that's really nifty, cool, keen. I really don't see that it's going to last, though. It's not going to be around. And besides, it's far too technical, right? I'm going to have to learn how to code, write CSS and HTML. Man, I'm a writer. I am not a software developer. And then, you know, my content's never going to go online. It has to be in paper. I mean, my customers just will not accept having my content online. That's just crazy talk. Besides, it's somebody else's problem, somebody else's department. Enter the villain. Head of marketing. All right? So the head of marketing, they saw the opportunity and they seized the day. All right? Now the head of marketing has a seat at the executive boardroom table. Right? They're helping to drive the direction of their business. They have a leadership role. They also have a technology budget that is easily 10 times the size of your budget in technical publications. And, well, they've gone so far as to even tell you how to write as technical writers. They're writing the style guide that's telling you how you're going to title your content and everything else. I mean, they are driving content in your organization because we didn't step up to the plate and say, we are the experts in written language. We should be leading the charge in this digital transformation. We should be there. And everybody's favorite sequel to this movie just released this year. 2018, AI, chatbots, automated assistants, oh my. All right, and here we are again, out in front of the problem, leading the charge. Because again, we have the same plot points, same objections, all right? I mean, how many of us have a Alexa or Google Home at home? Show of hands. Now, it's changed your lives, right? I mean, no. Many of us, maybe some of us, but I think for most of us, we still see it as a bit of a gimmick. Yeah, I can get it to play my music, I can get it to wake me up, I can get it to tell me, you know, what meetings I might have that day, give me the weather. That's kind of cool. But it is going to change everything. Consumers will expect information to be delivered via voice, via this technology. So it's not a gimmick, all right? And besides, it's far too technical. It uses artificial intelligence, come on. I mean, that goes beyond the pale. I mean, that's science stuff. Way too complicated to figure out. And hey, I write API docs. API docs are never going to go on Alexa, right? Sure. When we talk about that omni-channel experience, we're talking about sitting at a computer and saying, what are the parameters for this particular API command that I'm writing? Do I need to type it or search for it, or can I just ask the automated assistant that's sitting beside my computer and it'll give me the answer and I can just continue on working? I don't have to change modalities. Or maybe I want to find more information and say, hey, show me. Now it comes on the screen. All right, I need to be able to transition from voice to screen to the physical. Right? This will be our reality. Our consumers will demand that we're there. And it's somebody else's department. Right? Much like we invented entire new professions out of going digital, webmasters, web content writers, and the like. We're now starting to develop new professions around going to voice, going to the conversational user interface. New bad guy, head of user experience. Right? Now this person too has a head or a seat at the boardroom table. And he's got a technology budget 20 times the size of tech pubs. And wow, let's see, 20 years ago, we got kicked to the back of the bus. I think we're going to be kicked off the bus, next round. I mean, our relevance within our organizations, if it continues to diminish, we've got nowhere to go. Right? We need to be out in front of this. We need to learn how to speak robot. We need to take our businesses to that next level, take them to the conversational UI, help them understand how we work with machines and machines work with people, because that is our area of expertise. Enter Information 4.0. 2 years ago at LavaCon, Joe Goldner came up and spoke about Information 4.0 and how he equated the transition to align with other industry initiatives, Internet of Things, pharma, healthcare, so many industries that are moving to and changing how they produce their products, how they manage their products, how they think about their products. And despite our focus on simplifying content, content is becoming far more complex. And we're looking to create smarter, progressively smaller units of content. It's no longer good enough to simply give the right people the right information at the right time on the right device in the right locale, because people aren't looking for information so much as they're looking for answers. How do we produce answers that people are asking? That's our challenge. So enter intelligent content, or as I like to say, honey, I shrunk the content. All right? So we are changing how we work with content at a smaller, more granular, smarter scale, moving to micro content. Now, micro content was actually coined first by Jacob Nielsen back in 1998, according to Wikipedia. And it really spoke to working with unstructured micro content on the web and its power to help guide a user journey through their digital experience. We're going to take it to the next level. We're going to go from simple micro content to working with intelligent micro content. So rules for intelligent micro content. Again, remembering that it's not micro content just because it's small. So what makes for intelligent micro content, the micro content that we need to be producing, is that it needs to have a singular purpose, right? It needs to be small and compact enough that it answers a question. And it needs to have a defined function. Every type of information has a function behind it. And we look at something like XML data. How many people are familiar with XML data at all? Please raise your hands. All right, a lot of people in the room. So understanding information typing, concept, task, and reference. This is an information model based on the function of the information. All right, and our micro content as well will have to suit an intended function or an intended reader response. Next, it needs to be contextualized, or I need to be able to easily move from a chunk of micro content to the next chunk of micro content, or to macro content, to the broader picture and back. And this can only be done if I have good control over the context of the micro content. Now, if any of you have seen chatbot applications before or worked with them, you may understand that chatbots are really about coming up with question-answer pairs. All right, so somebody sits down, pulls up the application, logs into the database, and starts writing, here's some of the questions that I expect that my users are asking about our product, and here are the answers that go along with that. So they're being created in these proprietary closed database systems. They're not linked to anything, and they're not linked to a broader picture. They lack context. It is not intelligent micro content. Now, when we take our content from our user guides and from our documents and from our more traditional content production processes, and we burst it into micro content, and we use that content to fuel chatbots and conversational UIs, it comes along with a great deal of context. It knows the greater picture if we can push that metadata and those relationships into our chatbot applications and into our AI-powered systems that power conversational UIs. So just by virtue of having this tied directly to our content we're producing, we are automatically picking up valuable context, which other content that's created in the space does not have. And finally, micro content requires structure. It requires repeatable, predictable patterns and language in order for it to work in all of these desired contexts. All right, so it has to be about one thing. It has to have a very specific intended reader response. It has to have context. And finally, it has to have structure. These pieces go together to create workable micro content that we can publish anywhere and anytime we need to use it. What's really good about this is that it doesn't just suit one purpose. We're not just writing for machines. By thinking about information this way and producing information this way, we make information also easier for the human brain to understand. All right, so if we can focus all of our content development on creating information that we know that the user needs to use, all right, every piece of content answers a question. All of my content is built from micro content, so every piece of content has a purpose. It has a function, it has context, and it has structure. We make it easier for the human brain to understand, as well as making it easier for machines. So, what's holding us back? Where's it going to come from and who's going to write it? We ran a micro content webinar earlier this year, and it was a chatbot webinar. And we asked over 100 participants in the call as to who do you think is the most appropriate group within your organization to be creating chatbot content for your company. Only 45% of those people who were there for a chatbot presentation, who are technical writers, thought that tech pubs should be writing chatbot content. The rest they didn't know, or maybe marketing or learning. Somebody else should be creating this content, not us. But this is a missed opportunity for us. This is a missed opportunity for us to do the things we always wanted to do with our content, to make it easier to understand, to make it ubiquitous, to deliver this content across omnichannel experiences for our users. If we can get behind this, we can get that technology budget. We can get the people that we need to drive these initiatives, because this will be empowering our organizations and moving us to the next level. So moving to micro content and moving to structure isn't something entirely new. We're not pivoting in how we create content. We're simply continuing along a journey that took us from document-based orientation or document-based writing to topic-based writing, right? Where we started to introduce the notion of information types. We started to chunk our information down into usable pieces. We introduced concepts of metadata and taxonomies and the like. This next move is simply continuing along that same path, except we're moving to concentrate and focus on even smaller, more concise or precise units of content, those chunks of content, battle of the blob, displacing the blob. So we're on a path. Let's continue that path. Let's lead our organizations into this really new, exciting realm where we're working with machines. Learn how to speak robot. So tomorrow at 2:45, I'm giving a presentation also on the virtual track called The Next Big Thing, Micro-Content. And we'll walk through in a little bit more detail about the importance of these 4 components of micro-content. So I invite you to join me then. Or you can stop by our booth. We're in the exhibit hall and be happy to have a conversation with you about your journey towards a micro-content world. So I want to thank you all for your time today. I hope that was helpful.